distinguished Toastmaster Blake Smith. Blake is speaking from Level 3 of Pathways Visionary Communication Project. His challenge is to use descriptive language. The title of his presentation today is Joseph, Ralph, Ripples, and You. Please join me in welcoming to the lectern with Joseph, Ralph, Ripples, and You, distinguished Toastmaster, Blake Smith.
A while back, I was speaking to some friends about the ripple effect. The question I posed was, what happens when you drop a pebble in a pond? I got two very good answers. One, the ripples emanate out to the edges of the pond, and two, the pond is forever changed. My fellow Toastmasters and guests, my goal today is to help you think about ripples through time on a much larger scale. Our journey begins 4,000 years ago, 400 years before the birth of Moses. A young man named Joseph, the favorite son of Jacob, was born. Joseph's brothers were very jealous of their father's affection, and they plotted to kill Joseph by throwing him down a well and leaving him. Well, rather than let him die, they thought better of it and decided to pull him back out and sell him to Egypt into slavery. Y'all know the story? Yep, okay. All right, here's where we start moving fast, so hang with me. Joseph eventually became the Pharaoh's right-hand man. He correctly prophesied 14 years of feast and famine in the land of Egypt and recommended that Pharaoh stock the storehouses with grain for the famine to come. Well, it came, and one of the families that came looking for grain during the famine was the family of Jacob, specifically Joseph's brothers. Joseph didn't treat them in the manner they deserved. Instead, he showed them mercy. Joseph reunited with the 11 brothers. He saved them from starvation, and together they became the powerful 12 tribes of Israel. King Solomon and Moses can be traced back to this event. One of the brothers who grew in power was Judah. 2,000 years after the famine, Jesus Christ was born from Judah's lineage. The Roman Empire took the teachings of Christ, and Catholicism was born. It became the religion of Europe, and the Renaissance started, which had the artists like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci that are still influencing the 21st century. In the 1500s, Martin Luther got a little fed up with Catholicism and decided to start the Protestant Reformation. In 1620, 66 reformers, 66 pilgrims, got fed up with being told how they had to worship, and they decided to go to the New World. Every Thanksgiving, we celebrate these 66. They were soon joined by many others, also seeking the New World. Pretty soon, these colonists got uppity, and in 1776, they decided to form their own government. A government of, by, and for the people was born. A government that allowed people freedom of speech. A government of, by, and for the people that allowed for freedom of assembly. 134 years later, the General Secretary of the Rockford, Illinois YMCA took advantage of these freedoms and started a group called Toastmasters. The group fizzled out when he moved to California, but he tried again. And in 1924, Club Number 1, Santa Ana, California, Toastmasters was born. Today, this club, 99 years later, has over 280,000 members. So let's talk about the ripple effect of Ralph Smedley. In 1988, my new bride was the administrative assistant to Toastmaster and realtor Ron Clymer. Ron cajoled me into joining the Winter Park Toastmasters in 1989. In 2000, fellow Toastmaster Kim Glainer talked me into joining Motorola. In 2005, Motorola sent me to Hurricane Katrina restoration in Louisiana, where I lived for 2 years. 26 years after hearing a speech entitled "The Christmas Bear" by Tim Rickey, a Toastmaster told Tim that he needed to submit that story to the Orlando Sentinel. The Orlando Sentinel printed at Christmas week. The story was The Christmas Bear. Now Toastmaster Tim Rickey has more than 7 books under his belt. In 1975, Kim Glainer met Jordan Kamaker at the University of Florida the first time. 25 years later, Jordan followed Kim into the Winter Park Toastmasters, where Carl Ryder talked Jordan into a dual membership with the 1066 Club, where Jordan met Kay. In 2005, Jordan marries Kay. And they got married on the river ship Romance. 2000 was a great year if you were listening to Kim Glainer. Toastmaster Bill Newhouse once received an evaluation slip that said, "Your speech made a difference in my life." How many ripples did that cause? Toastmaster Roxanne Nordquist has a charity that clothes the homeless of Orlando. How does she distribute her donated goods? She got a truck from a foundation started by Toastmaster Gordy Allen. An 82-year-old grandmother in Daytona was scared to death that COVID was going to kill her or a family member. She wanted to get everybody together for one last time because she knew her time was short, but she had no money. She got a reverse mortgage on her house from Toastmaster Sean Tucker. She had the money she needed, and she gathered her family literally from all over the country. Toastmaster Sean Tucker got his job from Toastmaster Tim Linger. Jeff Rufinaut meets Amy White and falls in love. Carson Schaefer started a speaking club to help war veterans deal with emotional pain. My opinion of the death penalty changed because of a speech in this club. My fellow Toastmasters, this is just one club, and this is going on with 14,000 clubs worldwide. And these ripples all go back 45 generations to Joseph's brothers throwing him down the well. What ripples did you produce yesterday? What ripples will you produce today, tomorrow, in 10 years? Nothing we do is insignificant. Not a moment, not a luncheon, not a word, not a kiss. Fellow Toastmasters, behave as though what we do will impact the world for centuries to come, because it will. Mr. Toastmaster.